Good morning. Thanks for staying with us on our coverage of Budget 2021 Coronanomics. The importance, all the action points we're going to be breaking down for you in real time. 90 minutes to go before the budget speech begins, Jyoti.
Absolutely, 90 minutes to go, and we're talking about budget expectations, an expansionary budget. It's a big burden on the finance minister, I must say, today. Let's take this across to S.C. Garg first, who's the former finance secretary of India. Lots has been spoken about the fiscal stimulus push, but let's now focus a little on taxation. The Aam Aadmi wants to know whether he's going to get some relief as far as direct taxation is concerned. Are we going to see a revisiting of the tax slabs as well? Some sort of increase in the exemption limits as well, before I come to the indirect taxation bit.
See, the Aam Aadmi has been given a lot of relief on income tax in last 2-3 years. You remember the effective exemption was raised to 5 lakh rupees.
That's true.
So there is no tax until your income is 5 lakh plus, right? Then last year the exemptions were also given where you can choose to pay at the lower rate of tax if you don't take exemptions. So I think the expectation on any further cut is completely unrealistic. I don't think that would be the case.
Then some sort of a direction. I know this is a job.
What is right and what should be done? We have made our income tax system, the rate system, very complex.
Needs to be restructured and simplified.
With the introduction of a lot of surcharges and so these kind of exemption, no exemptions. So if we can clean up the income tax rate system, bring it to the simple level of that 10, 20, 30% kind of thing, I think that would be much better reform to do rather than looking for further reduction. One thing can be done, and I think time will have to come soon. We need to benchmark our minimum exemption limits to the index of inflation. These static rates which are there, whether it's 2 lakh rupees or something, get outdated by the time
inflation
you go
goes up,
right.
Yeah.
So if we can index it or automatically adjust it, that would be much better.
Rajiv, is that what we should be expecting to see as far as taxes are concerned?
Yes.
Not much of a big announcement changes as far as slabs are concerned, but a sort of simplification, restructuring.
So Shiv,
because that's a popular question. Most people, most people tuning in and watching will be looking at that.
And a natural expectation when there is budget, every individual expects something out of the budget. But the fact is that the system has got so complicated with two kinds of corporate taxes and two kinds of personal taxes, right? Two kinds of regimes in both personal and corporate taxes. GST regime is so complex. We had originally GST was planned as a 3 tax regime. Now it's like 5 different slabs. And so the filing of GST regime, corporate tax regime simplification, simplification on whether the multinationals should be taxed differently from domestic corporations. All of those are the kind of questions that you would expect being answered in this budget. But frankly, as far as personal income tax is concerned, very little is expected in terms of relief, because the government is going to be 25% short on tax collection this year. There is not much it can do. Even if it does, it will have to tinker it, give here, take there. So the best that I have heard is that ATC limit, if it can be raised from 1.5 lakh to something like 2 lakh, or maybe even very ambitious 2.5 lakh. That's the best that I am expecting, frankly, from in terms of personal income tax.
I'd also like to add one more thing here, and feel free to jump in whoever wants on this. While the Aam Aadmi would be looking at a benefit when it comes to direct taxation, and on the indirect taxation front, consolidation of the GST slabs as well, the biggest pinch that everyone feels today is petrol and diesel. And while I understand it's a state subject, but don't you think that there could be some direction given by the finance ministry to bring petrol and diesel in the GST ambit so as to not pay those heavy taxation?
No, why not alcohol also?
Yes, for sure.
Because see, the moment you get alcohol, which is an agriculture produce under GST.
No, it's not like every Aam Aadmi wants alcohol. Petrol and diesel becomes very important.
Your revenues of the central government will increase by at least 50,000 crore rupees, because there's so much siphoning off of the revenues by state governments and state government politicians. And that's, you can do that.
And in both of these cases, Chaiti, the biggest hurdle is the states themselves. The states are not allowing petrol and diesel and liquor to be brought under GST, because It takes the power away
But
from
what
them.
stops the finance minister from giving a sort of a direction
Because it
when
has
it
to be
comes to
decided.
this?
By
GST
GST
decisions have
Council.
to be by the
But
GST Council,
but the finance
which is
minister can
where
always direct.
which is
Would cause a
where
federal
states are in
crisis.
majority.
Right.
States are in majority.
Right.
And
Right.
unless states agree, you will not be able to take it
And
through GST.
one more thing.
Let me jump in.
Yeah.
I think the petroleum taxes, the biggest beneficiary is actually the central government.
Yeah, the excise.
The way you tax, levy the excise duty and the road and infrastructure cess, today the petrol and diesel has about 32 to 33 rupees per litre
Yeah.
of the component of the excise
Indian
duty and the cess, not the state governments. State governments do have. By the way, combined interest of the government is so high in the petroleum taxes that bringing it to the GST would mean either you lose a lot of amount of revenue or you have to come up with some innovative solution. Right, that is what is required to be done. It should be brought in,
Yes.
but it has to be done in a manner
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
central government and the state governments don't
I'm going to
lose.
continue this. Ajay, I'm just coming. I know you have a point to make. I'm just going to come to you. I just want to quickly remind our viewers about the markets opening as well. Chaiti also. Chaiti, take it away. You've got the numbers with you on the
Yeah,
markets opening.
on your
Yeah.
screens right now, the markets have opened. Look at the benchmark indices, BSE, Sensex right there, and the Nifty both open in the green at the moment. You can see 300 thereabout basis points jump coming on the Sensex, and about 57.9, almost 58% jump on the Nifty. You're seeing Nifty trade at 13,692.50 levels. Sensex 46,552.91 levels. It opened and you saw a bit of a spike right there. It's plateaued by the time it is 9:20 a.m. and this is the intraday trading charts on your screen right now. And at the moment you can see the Nifty at above 13,000 levels, Sensex at about 46,000 levels. If I could also give you a perspective of the weekly chart and how the Sensex and Nifty was faring, this is the weekly chart on your screens right now. This is the Sensex chart where you can see the markets up in the green right there, the Nifty as well. This is a weekly chart, and just to come back to the intraday right here, open in the green surely. Sensex is seeing a big cheer in the market on the back of the expectation coming in terms of this fiscal expansion and the spends in different sectors today without worrying about the fiscal deficit targets. And we've said this time and again, this is not a year to worry about the fiscal deficit targets. On the back of this, the traders are expecting a big push coming in infrastructure, in agriculture, in healthcare, and many more sectors, including defense as well. And that is something that is reflecting on the market sentiment, as in the opening bell, you see the Sensex jump up 300 points, Nifty jump up almost 60 thereabout basis points, trading at these levels which are on your screens. Back to you, Shiv.
Okay, so 60 up on the Nifty, 300 up on the Sensex. Yes, Ajay, so, sorry for interrupting you there. You were making that point. Go ahead.
See, the stock market is very good, but
Yeah.
it's not representative of where we are, the economy is. I think so. It's highly overrated. And I'll give you an example from the ground, from the farm. I grow citrus. I grow it in Punjab. One truck of citrus, that's 15,000 kgs, to Bangalore, pays tax on diesel consumption of 30,000 rupees. 15,000 rupees is the cess. So 45,000 rupees per truck of agriculture produce from Punjab, where I am on the border with Pakistan, to Bangalore. Now that amounts to 2 rupees or something per kg, or 3 rupees per kg per kilo of produce, and the farm gate price is 8 rupees. So we are paying around 20% of farm gate prices going into diesel tax and road cess. Now you tell me that adds to inflation. And that is what hurts the common man. The government is not going to reduce taxes on diesel. The government is going to make sure that food prices don't rise. And that's what leads to farmer agitation and protests, if you want to come to a budget context.
No, absolutely.
And that's the larger picture.
Okay. Shankar, quickly wanted to just wrap up on the stock markets and what we're seeing right now as far as sentiment is concerned. Ajay says it definitely doesn't reflect, obviously, what's happening in the economy right now. But what are you making about the markets?
Well, stock markets are forward indicators, so we shouldn't sort of connect it to the real economy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there is a K-shaped story happening here. So the billionaires' wealth is going up, the stock market is going up, millions, while some people are collecting billions, millions are losing jobs. So this is the K-shaped story.
True.
So we shouldn't get too much. But I wanted to add something about this petroleum price thing. As Mr. Garg said, a large part of it comes to the center. The second aspect is, we must remember that just a few months back, we had that famous dialogue, one nation, one tax, one act of God. So,
Yeah.
you know, there is a political issue on how you take away something from the states. That will have to be. So if you're going to take away alcohol, if you're going to take away the taxes, the states already are pressurizing for more devolution. So if you take that away, the formula should be to higher devolution, and I don't know how that will pan out when your revenues are under strain.
Yeah.
So this is a story that is a trade-off actually, and how this will happen. And you know, you can't just
I think
say
Mr.
that
Garg
I will
also
take
wants
it.
to make a point.
I
and
just
wanted
want to add to it. You see, the experience of the GST,
Yeah.
compensation especially, has made the states very careful now. They're feeling little let
Yes,
down.
yeah.
So bringing the petroleum or alcohol into the GST system
Yeah.
and subjecting the states back to the center's discretion might not really be acceptable any longer.
Yeah,
So
of
we'll
course.
have to treat this path very, very carefully.
Okay.
Of course, but you know, the taxation is so high that you,
Go ahead, Sanjeev. Yes.
Just add, while we're on the stock market and
Yes,
while we're
yes.
also on the tax, you guys are all looking for tax breaks. But you know, I am a contrarian. So the one thing I fervently wish for is that the wonderful capital gains tax that Mr. Jaitley introduced in
Yeah.
2018, I hope that is not diluted. Particularly with this
Because of the K-shape.
absurd rise in the stock market. This is where the low-hanging fruit is. And the second thing that I hope is that in the search for more resources, the government doesn't go ahead in the spirit of large announcements with bringing in some kind of a tax, a new tax on e-commerce, particularly Firangi e-commerce,
Right.
because outside the framework of any broad collaborative understanding which is still being developed on what such a tax should look like. I hope that doesn't happen, because that will really put the spanner in the works.
But there's also another problem of reviewing these tax laws as well, and the amendments that have been brought forth, Mr. Garg, in the tax laws. So many view it as tax terrorism at the moment. Do you want some sort of a simplification and a direction to come in on that front?
That
too?
tax terrorism, basically retrospective taxation,
Yeah.
is a very bad policy.
Yeah.
We should have accepted the judgments of the arbitration which have been given recently
Yeah.
gracefully, and sort of bury the ghost of the retrospective taxation. I would just pick up on what was being said. If there is some space somewhere to increase taxation, it is the wealth taxation, not the income taxation or the goods taxation in the e-commerce space or somewhere. And that is the upper stream of that K type.
Yeah.
So no capital gains tax dilution.
So you're talking direct
In fact, yeah.
taxation wise in the
We
highest
shouldn't
tax slab?
touch the.
So there's a troll bait that I had put out a couple of
Yeah.
days back.
I saw it.
And I said that all the valuation of all the billionaires has gone up basis spending by governments and the stimulus and the expansion of monetary policy by central banks. So the gains that the billionaires have got, 102 billionaires in India, dollar billionaires, some of it can be brought back. I mean, they should pay back to the system.
Absolutely.
And even world over in the US, UK, the conversation is about how to tax unrealized gains. So my suggestion was that between March and April, that unrealized gains of the dollar billionaires should be taxed at a particular point, and then that money should be brought in to deal with COVID relief. And
That will also
obviously, I
largely
mean,
take care of the K that is forming, right?
yeah, well, you know, the biggest protest, of course, has come from middle class. All the people on social media have hated the idea, and I've got trolled quite a bit. But this is a provocative argument that needs to be discussed. In fact, in the US, Janet Yellen, who's in her confirmation at the US Treasury, actually stated that we will look at taxing unrealized gains of wealth. So this is a sort of lemon out there. We don't know how it's going to be harvested.
On all these questions on taxation, Mihir, what do you think? Where do you stand on that?
Well, first of all, I mean, let's start at the beginning. Of the proportion of India that pay their taxes, the middle class and above, I think we've got a pretty good deal. All right, we're a relatively under-taxed middle class. All right,
Government's job.
Let me finish, I'll come to you. Yeah.
we're a relatively under-taxed middle class. so I don't think it's fair for, particularly in this year, for anyone to be expecting any form of relief there. When it comes to wealth tax, it's lovely in theory. It's very difficult to see how it works in practice. I mean, I have the greatest respect for Janet Yellen, but I think she's just trying to shut up a lot of people on the Democratic Party's left by saying that she looked at this idea. It's very difficult to figure out how you're going to put this into practice in a way that doesn't lead to widespread evasion, doesn't lead to people moving wealth or income offshore. And there's been no solution to this yet. Even Thomas Piketty, who's a big, proponent of wealth taxes, accepts this as a problem and wants a global wealth tax, not a local wealth tax. Right? So, and we've had a terrible experience with wealth taxes in this country, and we shouldn't forget it.
No, but our country's wealth tax never included stocks. So, I mean, we never really taxed real wealth of financial savings. So that's a gap that we had. And in fact, even immovable property taxes are, based on point of purchase rather than point mark-to-market pricing. These are issues. I mean, in the US, there's one proposal that is being considered is a form of withholding tax on an annual basis on unrealized gains. So these are all complex, and it is going to be complex, it is going to be difficult, but we are in extraordinary situation, and then we might have extraordinary...
Mr. Garg,
what I was saying is it's government's job to squeeze that K to become, to narrow the gap. You tax the rich and you provide the redistribution to the poor. That is what the government's job, and this can be done. I think today's context in case of wealth tax is much different than the context of 1950s when the wealth tax was introduced. Both the realized gains as well as the unrealized gains on the wealth side have grown very high, and that is what we should consider to bring back some sort of redistribution and tax buoyancy in the country.
Okay, Ajay?
So I think there are other things that we need to tax, especially to reduce the cost of health on the people, and that is tax overly processed, ultra-processed foods, tax food and salt, sugar and fat. This is what the world over people are doing, because once you consume all this, your health goes down, your nutrition goes down, and your health costs increase over the years. So this is the kind of progressive taxation we require. And I think so as far as farming is concerned, soil health is concerned, we need to increase the price of urea and reduce the P and K. So it leads to balanced use of fertilizers, government revenues don't change, farmer outgo doesn't change. So there are ways to do it within the framework that we are at.
So you want to see a lot of classification of the items under the existing slabs of the GST go through a bit of a change, like you mentioned, and see that coming.
And
so that direction coming from the finance minister,
we've added things. I don't know on what basis GST Council has worked, but I think today, if you look at the UN Food System Summit that's going to happen in September, and what the world is talking about is health and nutrition. It's not about food security anymore. And I think so this is where the budget should be going at. Otherwise, it's just receipts and expenditure.
So we've got about 70 minutes to go before the speech begins. So once that begins, all of this will get much sharper, and then we'll have analysis for each and every one of those announcements that comes in, whether it is tax, whether it is restructuring. Chaiti and I beginning the countdown now. 1 hour to go before it begins. Quick break. Back with our couples. Stay with us.